you sick and tired of not sticking to the resolutions that you set every single year? Come on, I know that you're totally over the fact that every year on December 31st, you write down a list of things that you're going to stick to, and then before you know it, it's the next year, and you're sitting down, writing down the exact same things all over again because you just didn't stick to them and you let them fall off, and now you're back to square one. Yeah, that was me for years and years and years. So I decided to make it my goal to come up with the best New Year's planning strategy ever known to man and womankind. And I've been able to successfully stick to every single commitment that I've made with myself for the past couple of years with this blueprint that I mapped out. It is a 3-part blueprint called the Best Year Blueprint. It is a no resolutions necessary strategy to mapping out the best year of your life. And it works. How do I know it works? Because I'm the guinea pig and I've used it for the past couple of years and I've accomplished everything that I said that I would do and more. So what's this mean to you? Well, it's really, really good news because I've actually created a totally free guide and a video where I'm explaining my 3-part Best Year Blueprint so that you can go and use this strategy to create the best year of your life too. So all you have to do to go get the free guide and the video is go to thebestyearblueprint.com. I'll put it in the show notes, but it's thebestyearblueprint.com. Go to that link and download your free guide. And then after you download it, there's going to be a special invitation to you to join me for my pre-New Year's planning party where we're all going to get on Zoom and do our Best Year Blueprint strategy together. So, I mean, my gosh, you don't want to miss this. If you're somebody that loves goal setting and actually wants to stick to your goals this year, you definitely want to join me for my pre-party where we will do our Best Year Blueprints together. So, in order to sign up and download your free guide, free video of the Best Year Blueprint, go to thebestyearblueprint.com. Can't wait to celebrate the very best year with you ever of all time. Now, one of the things that I think many people get wrong when they're setting their goals or their resolutions for the new year is they don't reflect on the year before. And the year before is actually your real blueprint to show you what goals you need to set for the next year. And without actually taking a moment to celebrate your wins and connect the dots looking backwards and see who you became in the past year and what you've accomplished and what you've achieved and how far you've come, it's so unbelievably important. You know, one of my favorite quotes is the Steve Jobs quote, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards." So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. And that's a constant reminder to me that you don't really necessarily know why something's happening to you in the moment. But when you look backwards and you reflect on how all of those moments that you've experienced ended up being for you, it all makes sense.
What if today was the day that you dared yourself to do what you've always wanted? Welcome to the I Dare You podcast. I'm your host, Jen Gottlieb, and together we're going to step outside of our comfort zones and into our best lives, one dare at a time. So come on, I dare you to dive right on in.
Hello, fam. Welcome to a very special edition of the I Dare You podcast. This is going to be a really great episode, y'all, because we're going to be talking about how to map out your best year yet. Because guess what? I'm sure you know this already. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but we're approaching the end of the year. Like, this year is coming to an end. I can't believe it. I can't believe how fast it flew by, but it flew. And I'm sitting here recording this the day before Thanksgiving. Like, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. And then before you know it, the holidays are going to be here. And before you know it, we're going to be waking up on January 1st, 2023, and it's going to be a whole new year. And hopefully you're going to have a plan to create a whole new elevated version of you. And if you stick around for this and you stick with me, I'm going to help give you the actual strategies and tools to be able to do that. Now, I love New Year's. We need to get this, like, you need to know this about me. My favorite holiday of the year is New Year's. It's not Christmas. It's not Hanukkah. It's not Halloween. It's not 4th of July. It is New Year's because I have made strategizing for the new year my job and my most fun activity. I live for reflecting on the year past and planning the year ahead and getting really intentional about my goals and where I'm going and what I'm letting go of and what I'm striving for and what I'm creating in the new year. But here's the thing. I don't stick to resolutions, so I don't make any. So I want to let you know that today on this podcast, we're going to go through my best year blueprint, which is my New Year's strategy that I do every single year. And it works. And there's no resolutions involved at all, zero. So this plan that I'm about to give you is, I would guarantee you that if you follow the steps that I lay out for you, you do the prompts, and you have some accountability behind it throughout the year, you will create everything that you desire this year. And you will not be that person that says, okay, my resolution is to do XYZ. And then February 1st comes around and you're like, oh, I already messed that up and let go of that resolution. And then you end up the next year like, oh, well, resolutions don't work. I don't want you to be that person. I want you to actually get really intentional on how you plan out your year so you can create everything that you want and you can get some serious momentum under your belt. And that's what this podcast is about, right? It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone and into your best life. And that's why we're going to get intentional about the new year and how we can set ourselves up for success. So I have been perfecting this best year blueprint for many years now. I don't know exactly how many years, but I've been doing some form of New Year's goal setting for a very long time. And I've listened to a lot of podcasts about it. I've read a lot of books about it. I've followed a lot of people's guidance about it. And I've tried different things and I figured out what works and what doesn't. And I formulated, I believe, to be the greatest, easiest, most simple to stick to New Year's planning strategy. And it's the one that I've been doing every year for the past couple of years. And I can tell you with 100% certainty, I know for sure it works because I've accomplished 98% of the goals that I set for when I've been doing this best year blueprint in this way that I'm about to teach you. So here's the thing. There's a couple things that are going to go down. I'm going to teach you this best year blueprint here on this podcast. You are in luck. I'm going to teach you. It's a 3-part system. I'm going to teach you the system. We're going to go through it. But on December 14th, I am going to be hosting a pre-New Year's party where we're all going to come together on Zoom and do this best year blueprint together. It's going to be epic and fun, and I'm going to teach it live, and we're actually going to implement and do it together so you're held accountable to actually doing this. So in order to sign up for that and get a video of me explaining best year blueprint and a PDF, a whole thing, the guide to doing it, so you don't just have to turn this podcast back on and listen to it again or take a bunch of notes, I want you to go to thebestyearblueprint.com, thebestyearblueprint.com. You're going to just enter your email. You'll get the totally free guide and PDF with all of the journaling prompts. You'll get a video of me explaining it, and then you'll be able to sign up for our pre-New Year's party that's happening on December 14th. You don't want to miss it. So we can plan our years together. Now, okay, so we're going to go through this best year blueprint, and I'm going to let you know that there are 3 parts to this, and each part is just as important as the next, and you need to do it in this very specific order. The way that I typically do this, you can do this all in one day, or you could start doing it a few weeks leading up to the new year and spend a lot of time on it. I specifically like to do this the full week leading up to the new year. So Chris and I have a tradition. We go on vacation for New Year's every year, and also my birthday is December 28th. So we make it a birthday/New Year's vacation, and we usually go to the same resort every year, and together we do our best year blueprints. And it's a whole tradition that we do. And so I would invite you to either start a new tradition with your family, and you don't have to go on vacation to do it. You can do it at home. But if you are going on vacation, it's a great thing to do while sitting by the pool with your journal, or waking up early and going for a walk on the beach and really reflecting and having these prompts. And going through this and taking your time with it, not sitting and just doing it all in one day. It's something that I think you should be really intentional about. And the more intentional you are and the more time you take on it, the better it's going to work. So let's dive right on in without further ado, because listen, you can get on my pre-party with me on December 14th, and I'll explain even more, and I'll even share with you my best year blueprint from last year and all of the things that I ended up actually creating and doing, and the goals that I set and how I accomplished them using this blueprint. It's mind-blowing. I'll tell you that on the 14th when you join me. But let's dive right on into the 3 parts. So there are 3 parts of the best year blueprint. The first part is reflection. The second is decision, and the third part is connection. Now, one of the things that I think many people get wrong when they're setting their goals or their resolutions for the new year is they don't reflect on the year before. And the year before is actually your real blueprint to show you what goals you need to set for the next year. I think people are just setting the wrong goals. They're not reflecting on what went wrong, on what went right, on what worked, on what didn't work, on what things they need to let go of or what things they need to press harder on the gas pedal on. People are just like mindlessly thinking, oh, I think this would be a great goal. Let's do this goal without reflecting and without actually taking a moment to celebrate your wins and connect the dots looking backwards and see who you became in the past year and what you've accomplished and what you've achieved and how far you've come. It's so unbelievably important. You know, one of my favorite quotes is the Steve Jobs quote: you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. And that's a constant reminder to me that you don't really necessarily know why something's happening to you in the moment. But when you look backwards and you reflect on how all of those moments that you've experienced ended up being for you, it all makes sense. So for the first part, we're going to be reflecting on our year before. So what I want you to do is take out a notebook, and these are going to be your prompts, your journal prompts for the reflection portion of the Best Year Blueprint. So you're going to look back at this previous year. So for this specific podcast, we're thinking about 2022. And you're going to write down my 2022 wins and highlights were. So you think about all of your wins and highlights for the year. Now, this is going to be a pretty long list because I want you to get really detailed. And you might forget your wins and highlights. So there's several ways that you can actually go back and look and see what your wins and highlights were and cheat a little bit. Some things that I like to do is I like to look back at my photos in my iPhone, and they usually tell a very powerful story. So I'll just look at all like January 2022 photos, February 2022 photos, January, all of the different photos, and that will show me some of the wins that I had. Or I'll go back and I'll look at my Facebook or my Instagram, things that I posted back in those specific months if I don't remember, or I'll look at my calendar and the different events in my calendar. And I want you to write down all of your wins, all of your highlights, all of your amazing badass moments. And this should go deep. You should fill, 5 pages of wins, because they don't have to be spectacular wins, like massive. I mean, yes, obviously put those on there, but they could also be, I had this beautiful dinner with so-and-so and it just reconnected us as best friends. Maybe that was like one moment out of a week of wins. Just go deep and really take time to celebrate all of the amazing accomplishments, little, big, doesn't matter. Impactful, maybe not so impactful to other people, but maybe it was impactful to you. All the wins, celebrate them all. So you're going to write them all down. The second prompt in the reflection portion is my 2022 gratitude list. So you're going to do an ultimate gratitude list for the year. What are you most grateful for that happened in this specific year? Now, again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. No gratitude is too small. Any gratitude. It could be the biggest gratitude ever. It could be little gratitudes, mini ones. It could be like, oh my gosh, I found the greatest esthetician and I'm obsessed with her. I'm so grateful I found her this year. Or I bought new sheets for my bed this year and I upgraded to this thread count and they made my life so much better. Or it could be, I'm so grateful that I met the love of my life this year. Or I'm so grateful that I had a child this year and I experienced that. Whatever. I'm so grateful there was so much love. Or I'm so grateful for the failures that I had this year. Let's get grateful for the previous year and remember all of the things that we have to be grateful for. This is setting us up for the second part of this blueprint. Let me let you know, when you start to create and plan what you want for the next year, you need to do the foundation first. Okay, so we've got my 2022 wins and highlights. Then we've got my 2022 ultimate gratitude list. Then you're going to go into the next prompt, which is the ways I limited myself in 2022 were. Now, this is a very important prompt, and I want you to get really real with yourself. How did you limit yourself this last year? Okay, how did you limit yourself? What were some of the things that maybe you said you were going to do the year before that you didn't do, or some of the things that, some bad habits that you have that held you back? Maybe you weren't as visible as you'd like to be. Maybe you didn't invest in yourself like you said you were going to. Maybe you didn't read enough, you didn't travel enough, you didn't do the thing you said you were going to do, you didn't stick to your commitments. Maybe you were a little too strict with yourself, with your schedule, or maybe you weren't consistent with your health and your workouts. How did you hold yourself back? Okay, maybe you didn't take enough time to connect with your partner, or you didn't show up for therapy as much as you wanted to, or you said you were going to meditate and you didn't. I don't know. What are the ways that you held yourself back and limited yourself? Okay. Then the last prompt in reflection is, the most important lessons that I learned in 2022 were. Then you're going to think about all of those ways you limited yourself and think about how you learned lessons from them, or just lessons in general. Okay. And this should be a long list. Go to town here. What lessons did you learn? And remember that it's such a great reminder whenever I do this list of the most important lessons that I learned, it really reminds me that every single thing that happened that year, or that happens all the time, is secretly happening for me to teach me something, right? Usually my most important lessons come from the biggest failures, or my biggest face plants, or things that went wrong, or, unhappy moments. Usually that's where the lessons are learned. So those are your different prompts for the reflection section. Again, please go download the free PDF at thebestyearblueprint.com so you can actually look at these on paper. All right, so let's move into the next portion, which is the funnest part for everybody, right? The goals setting part. We're looking at the next year and we're going to plan what we want to create in the next year. So number 2, this second part is called decision, because it actually is just a bunch of choices that you're going to make. It's not a resolution. It's not I hope that this happens, or a wish. It's actually making a choice that this is what you're choosing to do in the next year moving forward. This is the person that you're choosing to be. These are the things that you're choosing to prioritize. So in the decision portion, you're going to do a couple of prompts. Again, here's your journal prompts. The first one is, we're deciding for 2023. So now we're moving into the next year. By the way, if for some reason you're listening to this way into the future, use it for the year that we're going into. But I'm going to use 2023 as an example right now. So we're going into 2023. So I would say my 2023 wins and highlights were. Now listen to how I said that. It was as if the year's gone by and I had all the wins and I had all the highlights. What were they? What were they? We're planning them ahead before they even happen. So what are the wins that you're deciding that you're going to have in 2023? What were the highlights that you're deciding that you're going to have? Maybe you want to travel to Greece. I traveled to Greece and it was beautiful. I published my book and it was amazing, right? I spoke on 5 stages and I totally rocked it. I finally hired that assistant and they're amazing. Whatever your 2023 wins and highlights are going to be, you're going to make those decisions and you're going to write them out. Okay. The next prompt, my 2023 gratitude list. So we're going to be grateful for all the things that are happening in 2023 as if they've already happened. Now, I call this a future gratitude list. This is, if you believe in manifestation, the law of attraction, the fastest way to manifest or create what you want is to get grateful for it, because the feeling of gratitude puts you in that vibration of feeling like you have that thing before you've actually had that thing, right? And that's the key. Like, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a real memory and a fake one. So if you can trick it to feeling like you've already created all these things and you're so grateful for them, it's going to be your secret tool that shifts the belief in your subconscious mind and makes you take action in a different way. It makes you take action even when you're scared. It doesn't make anything magically appear, but it does help you move through fear a lot easier when you believe that that thing has already existed in your life. So you're going to say, my 2023 gratitude. I'm so grateful in 2023 that I blank, 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 make a huge list. Okay. Then your next prompt is, in 2023, I experienced. What are you choosing to experience in 2023? List it out. I experienced traveling to Africa. I experienced falling madly in love. I experienced hiring my first employee. I experienced speaking on a stage in front of thousands of people. I experienced belly laughs, laughing so hard that I cried. I don't know, right? What did you experience? And then you're going to move to the next prompt, which is, in 2023, I felt. What did you feel? What emotions did you feel in this next year coming up? What do you want to feel? I felt invigorated. I felt excited. I felt goosebumps. I felt happy tears streaming down my face. I felt immense gratitude. I felt abundant. I felt rich. I felt lucky. I felt blessed. I felt in flow. I'm just giving you examples of things that you can write down. And then most importantly, in 2023, so looking at the year ahead, I let go of. What are you letting go of? So what I would do for this portion, and as I would look back at the reflection portion, and I would look back at what you wrote down for what held you back, what things held you back last year. And I would really think about if you could let go of any of those things. I let go of my limiting belief that I'm not good at sales. I let go of my limiting belief that I'm an imposter, or that I'm not good enough to speak on a stage, or I let go of my fear of being seen, or I let go of I let go of eating ice cream every single night, right? Like it could be so simple, but what things held you back, and then what can you let go of? So that's your last one. So let's review the journal prompts for part 2, which is decision. So you're going to say the next year. So in my 2023 wins and highlights were my 2023 gratitude list. In 2023, I experienced. In 2023, I felt. In 2023, I let go of. There we go. All right, let's move into the third part of the Best Year Blueprint, which is connection. This is where we connect the dots. This is where we take the reflection portion and the decision, the choices portion, and we connect the two. And we do something really cool to help ourselves actually create this as we go through the year. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to write a letter to your future self. You're going to connect you now to you in the future. Okay. And I'm going to tell you a quick little story. It's the first time that I ever did this. I wrote a letter to my future self, congratulating myself for all of the things that I accomplished over the year. And I sealed it up. I put it away. I said, don't open this until, this certain date, which was like January 1st, whatever year it was. And this was the year that I met my fiance, Chris. And I met him on November 29th. And shortly after that, we went on vacation together because we hit it off right away. And we ended up going to my friend's wedding on New Year's in Des Moines, Iowa. And my tradition was to open the letter that I write to my future self. And it was January 1st, so I had to open my letter, and Chris was there with me. So he was sitting on the bed next to me, and I'm like, I got to open my letter that I wrote to myself. And I had no idea what it said, but I opened it up. And the first line of that letter was, keep in mind, when I wrote this letter, I was single. The first line was, Dear Jenny, I'm so excited for you. You're sitting next to the love of your life right now. Give him a kiss for me. I still have that letter. I'll save it forever, but it was unbelievably powerful. And it reminded me about the power of subconsciously setting certain intentions and connecting yourself now to your future self, and really congratulating your future self and remembering that you are in charge of creating your future self. So you're going to write a letter to you in the future. So this person, you in the future, is going to open up this letter a year from now. What do you want to tell that person? So here's an example, like, Dear me, I'm so proud of you for accomplishing XYZ, right? Some of the goals that you set. You exceeded your own expectations. You showed up even more than you ever thought you could. And then don't forget, moving into the next year, that the Best Year Blueprint works, that you want to be intentional about setting your goals, letting go of the things that hold you back, reflecting on your wins. I'm so proud of you for accomplishing XYZ. Write yourself a really beautiful letter. So then you're going to seal up that letter. And you're going to say, do not open until January 1st, 2024. Okay, that's when you're going to open it. Or you could open it on December 31st, 2023. But you can't open it till the next year. Okay, so that's your first letter. Then we're going to keep connecting our future self to our present self, and our present self to our future self. Now, this letter that you're going to write is a letter to your present self from your future self. So you're going to envision that you are the person that accomplished all the things that you want to accomplish, all those wins and highlights that you wrote down for 2023. You've accomplished all those things. You are that person in the future that crushed their goals, totally succeeded. You are going to write a letter to you now. That future version of yourself is writing a letter to you now. What would that future version of yourself that created everything that you wanted, what advice would you give yourself now? How would you coach yourself to show up each day? So here's a great example. Dear me, remember that today is the first day of the rest of your life. Don't forget that each day is a new chance to make decisions that will make me, the future you, proud and successful. I know that you want to, and then add in all the things that you know that you want to accomplish. Like, I know you want to write a book. I know you want to speak on stages. I know that you want to build a seriously profitable business with your side hustle and quit your job. Well, what can you do today that'll bring you closer to achieving that? Don't forget to show up every day. Don't forget to go to the gym. Don't forget that when you eat ice cream at night, it doesn't make you feel good. What would you tell yourself from the future you that has succeeded? Because that letter is going to be a letter that you read to yourself every single day of the year to remind yourself what you need to be successful each day. Because guess what? You are the best coach that you know. And I would guarantee you that you're really good at coaching other people and telling other people what they need to do. But I don't think you're so good at coaching yourself. I know for me. So what this letter is going to be is like, it's a letter from the greatest coach of all time, your future self. Okay, so you're not going to seal that one up. That's going to be one that you read to yourself every day throughout the year to connect the dots for you from future you to present you. Okay, so now we have a bonus. So wait, let's review really quick. We have the reflection portion, the decision portion, and then we have the connection portion where you're writing the letters. Now, this is the last piece. You're going to create a word of the year. Now, many people have done this already. They've heard about this, but this really works. And I invite you to pick a word or words. Last year, I had 2 words that you are really committed to sticking to, okay? Do not make a word that is something that is not realistic for you and you know that it's just a fancy word that's going to make other people be like, ooh, that was a good word. Don't think about other people when you're making up your word. I've done that. I've made like a word that's like really sexy and cool and like makes me sound really awesome when I tell people my word of the year. And I didn't stick to it because it wasn't authentic. I want you to look at your reflection portion of this Best Year Blueprint and your decision portion. When you're looking at those portions together and you're seeing what you really need to let go of and what you really want to create and what those 2023 wins and highlights actually are and who you need to step into to become and what you need to do to be able to get those wins and highlights, what is the word that's going to move the needle? And when I say a word, if you've never heard of a word of the year, it's choosing one word or 2 words that is the theme of your year. So I'll give you an example. My 2022, the words of the year that I chose for this last year were content and flexibility. Now I chose them because I wanted to double down on creating content and I wanted to create a piece of content every single day. I wanted to become a content machine. And that was my focus for business is creating content, video, audio, my book, everything, reels. And I did that. And I just kept that in mind. I told my whole team, the word is content. We're doubling down on content. We're investing in content. We're, strategizing around content. We are going to make the most epic content ever. And I stuck to it. And then I knew that I needed a subword in order to succeed with my content word because I was holding myself back when I did my reflection piece in the way of I was too structured and too strict with my time and my boundaries. Now, I'm a big boundary girl. I love boundaries and I love really being strategic with my time, but I was being too strict with myself and I wasn't allowing opportunities to come because if someone asked me to go somewhere last minute, I'd be like, oh, I can't do that. I'm, doing XYZ. So I needed my word to be flexibility. I needed to be able to be more flexible. I needed to be able to get on a plane and go somewhere last minute or record something even if I wasn't in full hair and makeup. And I believe that I did that. That led me to doing my get ready with me's every morning with no makeup on. That led me to getting on airplanes last minute to speak at random events on the other side of the country, but saying yes. And all those speaking engagements led to different ones. And I think that the success that I had this year is really a result of those 2 words together, content and flexibility. So creating content and being flexible when opportunities arise and not being too strict and not holding myself back with this silly reason like, oh, I'm too busy or I'm too overwhelmed or if I do that, I'm going to get burnt out. No, it was flexible and easy. And I told my team, remind me, I can do all the things. I can do them. I can be flexible. So I invite you to choose a word of the year. And some of the words that I've had in the past were connection. That was the year that I met my fiance, Chris, the super connector Winfield. I've had the word experience. I've had the word love. So think about what word you need to drive all of your decisions this year. And if you need a subword, please create that subword. So my friends, that is the Best Year Blueprint. This takes a couple of days to do. I don't want you to do it all in one day, but I do want you to join me on December 14th for our Best Year Blueprint pre-New Year's party celebration where we're going to go through this together, and I'm going to give you some time during it for us to all sit down together and really think this through and map out our best year yet. It is a totally free virtual event. So please go to thebestyearblueprint.com. That's my dare of the day for you. Go to thebestyearblueprint.com so you can get the PDF so you see all of this written out. You're also going to get a video of me teaching this again, just in case you forgot. And then you'll be able to solidify your seat, which you have to sign up to get your seat, at my pre-New Year's party on December 14th. Thebestyearblueprint.com. I hope you loved this. I love teaching this. I live for this. It's my favorite thing in the world. And I can't wait to watch you all create the very best year of your life in 2023. Let's go. I'm so grateful that you joined me. I love you so much. I'm so excited for this year with you to keep bringing you amazing content here on the I Dare You podcast. Don't forget to share this episode with people that you think need it. Don't forget to invite your friends to thebestyearblueprint.com so they can create the best year of their life yet too. And I will see you next week here on the I Dare You podcast. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the I Dare You podcast. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me, but I'm even more grateful for your future self that you are building one dare at a time. So my first dare for you is to subscribe to the show and then share it with a friend who you think needs to step a little bit more outside their comfort zone and into their best lives. They'll thank you for it. I'll see you next time on the I Dare You podcast.